the pleasure and honor of introducing a person who I find extraordinarily inspiring, Gabriela Ramos, who you see on our screen, who's been at the Global Solutions Summit many times, but unfortunately can't make it. You are calling from Mexico City. If I could just say a few words of introduction. Gabriela Ramos is an extraordinary person for many reasons. She is a visionary who is an economist, a politician, a civil servant who has made fundamental contributions in a wide variety of areas. She has been the Assistant Director General of UNESCO and is now a candidate to be Director General of UNESCO. Before joining UNESCO, she was a Sherpa and the number 2 at the OECD, and has made fundamental contributions in a wide variety of areas, including ethical principles for AI at UNESCO with 194 countries, something that's never been achieved in any other organization. Gender equality, major contributions to the Paris Climate Agreement, and I could go on. You're not here to listen to me going on. So I will just proceed with one last point, and that is Gabriela Ramos is a person of not only outstanding vision, but ethical clarity. Clarity with regards to what is required to make societies truly inclusive, bringing culture on board as a mechanism to promote education, to protect and support science and the nexus between science and policy as an ethical dimension is important. And to ensure that our environments are pervaded by a sense of our interconnectedness and responsibility to one another. Over the years, I've had the great privilege of interacting with her, and it has been a great inspiration to me and the entire Global Solutions community. So it is with great pleasure that I give to you, Gabriela. We are looking forward to your words.
Thank you so much, Dennis, and good morning from Mexico and good afternoon in Germany. You have been so generous with this introduction, Dennis, that I'd rather go before exposing myself. But no, it's great to be here at the Global Solutions Summit. I always say that this is the place to be, and I'm intending to be there every time, because having the business sector, having the academics, having the think tanks, having Dennis at the helm with his fabulous team, I think it's a very important place to be, particularly in the current context, when we need to go more innovative, when we need to reflect on how we can navigate the very, very complex times that we are living, where we, the people that believe in multilateralism, are seeing that all of the problems that we are confronting need more multilateral cooperation, more international cooperation, and we are seeing less just because major players are disengaging. And certainly it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle because even with the globalizing trend that we faced during the last years, we are so interlinked in every single way. On the trade, on investment, on climate, on migration, on even in just addressing the challenges together. And therefore, this is where we are. But we need to be realistic, and we need to be thinking, how do we move forward? How do we navigate these waters, and how we deliver on the goals that the Global Solutions Summit have been discussing now for so many years with so many good outcomes. But we need to be true to ourselves. The reality is that in the people's perception in general, in many countries, and we see it that in the ballot box, people are not happy with the results that we have provided. Trust in institutions, national, international, are declining. So it's not only about leaders not engaging, but it's also about how do we make sure that people can attest to the importance of going global and engaging with other countries to address the challenges we face. And this is the point that we need to be very focusing on. How do we convey better the impact of the outcomes from the multilateral processes? Dennis has mentioned our work at the G20. I cannot imagine what would have happened in the financial crisis in 2008 without the G20, without the international institutions supporting countries to avoid protectionist measures, because we were so worried about turning the financial crisis into a recession of the one we saw in the 30s. What would have happened if we at the OECD with the G20 had not delivered on the international tax reform that has really closed loopholes? And I know it takes time and it takes a lot of effort, but at the end, it's the solutions that we are providing that matter the most. And what Dennis has mentioned in the last 5 years in my work at UNESCO, getting 194 countries to agree on the fact that the AI revolution, the very fast pace and disruptive nature of technologies such as artificial intelligence need to be managed ethically. And then turning the conversation that usually is more into a technological issue and chasing the algorithms and looking at data and looking at audits and all of those things that are fine because these are the technological solutions, but moving it into a more societal debate of the impact, of the outcomes, of how do we preserve the human rights and human dignity? How do we ensure that they are sustainable regarding the environment? How do we go for gender equality? That is one of the issues that are not being well addressed in the technological advancements. But I have to say that going back to the question of how do we deliver for people, we turn this instrument into something that countries could implement with a diagnostic tool that we are now doing in 70 countries that will tell us where countries are regarding the benchmark, and then helping them to look at the institutions, to look at the policies, to look at the investments, at the incentives. And I think this is a very important point for the international debate and for our own reflection. It's not enough to have very great agreements. It's as important to have implementation plans. And this is what we try to do with the climate agreement, with the national determined contributions. But let's go deep into the national efforts that need to be done to follow the international agreements. Because at the end, if you think about artificial intelligence, it's almost like catching up. No, we understood generative AI, and now we are with reasoning AI and agentic AI, and each one of these new waves of technological progress is really bringing more challenges and more doubts about how do we handle the market transformation, how do we protect our youth, how do we protect our children, but how do we make the best use of these technologies for our common future? So I feel that the implementation is very important. On the other hand, it's also true that these major achievements, I'm not sure that we will be able to have something similar at the current juncture. Of course, I'm now the candidate of Mexico to head UNESCO, but we managed to advance also the recommendation on the ethics of neurotechnology, because we should remember also that all of these technologies are converging, synthetic biology, quantum that is coming, and therefore all of these things need really to be framed ethically. I hope that my colleagues at UNESCO will deliver this very important recommendation. Maybe in the current juncture, we should focus on implementing what we have. We should focus to work with member states that are many more, and this is my positive view, that many more countries are attached to multilateralism than those that are not. Maybe it's time to be brave and to go for variable geometry for the time being. Nobody likes that. because we are used to go for universal agreements, to really go for consensus, to try to move the agenda all together. But if we are bound in this situation by major players that are not really interested in moving in this way, I don't think that we can stop the majority of the people, including all of you, including all of the institutions, including many governments with whom I'm working, that really want to find the answers to the challenges we are facing. Be it on climate, we have the climate agreement, the Paris Agreement. Let's deliver on that. Let's go for very individual efforts that at the end, the sum of the parts will deliver a higher outcomes. Let's look at different ways of measuring impact. And here the work that Dennis has done with the SASH indicators or the well-being framework, I will be in Iceland next week, are so important, because maybe we also need to understand better the problems that we are confronting and move away from metrics that are so simplistic and that are not delivering in the complexity of what we are trying to achieve. And let's look at how do we deliver on our major goals on poverty, on inequality, on education. And this is exactly where I'm so excited to be, of course, the candidate of Mexico, my beautiful country, to lead UNESCO and to push the three or the four very important mandates that UNESCO has, because we are very well known for the World Heritage Sites. But the reality is that we are the house of education, education for peace. What we educate for, education for solidarity, for compassion. Yes, we need good maths and we need good outcomes for the labor markets, but we humans need more connections, more connectivity, more linkages. We have seen how important are all the relational and societal linkages, particularly for our youth that are not in a very good shape in terms of mental health. But we also need, as Dennis showed, why don't we bring culture closer to our development paths? We always enjoy culture. We know that culture brings us together, even in understanding our, different countries, but we always see it as a sideline in the development path. We need to be more innovative. Science is under stress. Science is also under attack. Scientists, freedom of expression, and UNESCO is core to this issue, particularly to protect journalists and to protect scientists, because if we do not go for the evidence, if we don't understand the problems, if we do not agree what are the problems, then we will be in great shape. But more than anything, we need impact. We need impact, and I think it is for us not to be worried about the fact that there is this detachment by some major players of multilateralism, but to continue proving the impact that we had in so many ways, but also to continue to be focused and to be honest and to find out how much we can really deliver on what we have agreed, and to try to push forward this agenda that is so important for the world. So this is my quest. I think that it's not a pessimistic or optimistic. We always say it's more an activistic agenda. I think that we all should, of course, be very conscious of the very perilous context in which we are living, but be focused on delivering on what we can deliver, and be focused on having impact for people to try to change the perceptions that I just mentioned at the beginning. So great to be with you, and I'm looking forward to continue working with all of you and with the Global Solutions Summit, which is the place to be in every year that we go for this very important conference. Thank you, Dennis.
Gabriela, thank you very much indeed. This, I think, has typified exactly what has made Gabriela such a force within this community and so many others. There's this combination of a warm heart and very clear vision of what we need to do practically. This combination of ethical principles combined with impact. And what comes to mind at this moment, listening to you talk, Gabriela, is Mark Twain once said that there are two important days in your life. One is when you were born, and the second is when you find out why. And you are helping people answer that second question for people around the world, and we're very grateful to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. All the
Thanks
best
to all of you, and good luck.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Woo. He was fast. Usually I would have expected you to speak for much longer, but thanks a lot for sticking to the schedule, because we're all going to send you in a busy afternoon. There's 2 sessions starting right now, in the deep dives next door and in the dialogues 1 floor down. Also, I believe we gave you a lot to talk about. You can probably already see how this stage now in this afternoon acts as some kind of a speaker's corner, where we try to present inspiring talks. And there's going to be 1 more ahead. At 4:30, we're going to hear another keynote by Sheila Warren, one of our very close allies from the Project Liberty Institute, talking more about AI and what to best do with it. So find yourself someone to converse with. We gave you a lot of food for thought. Thanks for being here, and see you at the latest at 4:30 up here.